happy Thursday afternoon. Welcome to another podcast with East West Football today with your host Blake Gardner, and of course, as we're getting used to, our co-host here, Jay King. Today, we're just going to hit a couple things. This college conference whack mess going on. We just tried to chop it up a little bit before we came on, and it's more complex than we even can honestly comprehend. But then we're going to jump into the NFC South. We had the guys, Fidel, Kendall, Jerry. They talked about the NFC East it was the other night. So we're going to kind of piggyback off that, hit the NFC South.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, you know them. They're working for sure. They did. We just had another podcast with some Grambling State wide receiver freshman, supposed to be big guy coming in. So, yeah, make sure you're checking out all East-West football stuff. So, Jay, we'll let you start it off. Seeing how last podcast we had together, actually, one of the last things we talked about was the playoff four we have going into next year, and 2 years were actually USC and Notre Dame. That was 2 weeks ago. With the recent news and the recent action as far as conference changes, if you want, I'll let you go ahead and start rolling those off as far as like who's going where.
Yeah, man. Well, unfortunately, we won't see those changes happen until 2024 for USC and UCLA, who have committed to joining the Big Ten. But man, that was huge news, and them being able to go there really puts a different eye on them in terms of level of competition. Both franchises or both organizations have been pretty good. Both schools have been really good. So, they produce good football. They get good recruits. It's California, it's a high sought after recruiting town, so yeah, they're going to do a good job. And Lincoln Riley at USC, I'm saying, just stinking Lincoln, man. I was telling you, he's a grimy guy, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? We'll mess with him to the end. But yeah, so with them going there, the other big news is Notre Dame. It's not really news, more so just what are the possibilities with them being independent here, where they could go. They're a pretty reputable school. They got a lot of high profile commits this year, so there's probably going to be some pressure for them to put themselves in a conversation for some competition amongst their conference. Being independent, they're not really. I'm not saying they're ducking smoke, but they're not really getting all of it. Some of the teams down south, though, down in the Florida area, are also moving. I'll let you kind of take over some of that right there, Blake, and dip into some of that. I know that's a little bit more your forte right there.
Yeah, as I'm over here, I'm not being unprofessional looking at my phone right now. I'm trying to, make sure we share, get the air flowing, making sure we get it posted everywhere. But yeah, with all this movement going on, I really, it started with Oklahoma and Texas last year coming to the SEC. That's happening next year, and that was just the big domino, I guess, in all of this, because just since that, USC, UCLA dropped a bomb. Them coming to the Big Ten, which is almost a for sure thing in 2024, is definitely huge news. Watching, just guys that have been around longer, their shows, the talk of the mega conferences.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. So, I mean, that's not even all of them. Like you were talking about Florida, the Florida teams have a little bit of insight with Florida State, Miami, and I say insight, not inside, insight. And I'm pretty sure both of them are going to try to come to the SEC as well as Clemson. So now you're talking about, some of the best teams in the ACC splitting up. So now what is North Carolina going to do? Wake Forest. These guys are actually been kind of decent over the last couple of years. Do they reach out to the Big 12, Big 10, SEC? I think we talked about it last podcast with UCLA and USC going to the Big 10, and like we said, a Rutgers versus UCLA game. Every year, the whole zoning region thing with conferences is out the window. at this point. So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's taken into consideration a little bit, but it's really where do you think you find the most?
Yeah, we might even see a complete restructure of the college football playoffs based on, some of these conferences crunching down. It's really too early to tell really too much of anything. I mean, like I said, some of those teams won't be in until next year. Some of them won't be in until 2024. So, but we will definitely find out. I mean, I love the way that competition is going for college football, though I do think that it's a good thing for college football for the teams to be in the same conferences and to really pit each other against one another and really get to the bottom of who's dominating college ball.
Yeah, and it's interesting because before NIL, I feel like a lot of these teams wouldn't have even thought about this just due to the fact of loyalty, program tradition, stuff like that, things that make these institutions what they are. So, recognizable. Yeah. I feel like before NIL, but this wasn't on their mind. Now it's like, oh, they're leaving. It's not, oh, yeah, we just get to take over the conference in Oregon. Oh, we get to win the Pac-12 every year. No, you're going to lose so many kids just off the money base, the NIL thing, and just the brand is everything's such a brand now, which is, it's a very interesting take. I definitely believe, those guys should be getting paid. So I do think it just needs to be figured out. That's all. And I heard a take from Rich Eisen. I think I talked about him last podcast as well. I love Rich Eisen. He was saying how the NCAA, they run all the college sports. They don't just run football. They run all of it. So there's going to be some stuff that's messed up. They were saying basically how the playoff committee, the college football playoff committee, will kind of take over, and kind of run things as far as like rules with NIL and like regulations.
Players Association.
So, literally. So it's going to get very interesting here over the next couple of years. And honestly, I say next couple of years. And if we'd have been talking about this a year ago, we would have been like, oh, the next 5 years, Oklahoma and Texas, this is the start of a new generation. No. This shit's happening right now. So we'll see very, very soon how all this pans out. We didn't touch on slightly smaller, but I think it's pretty important. UCF, Cincy, Houston to the Big 12, where Oklahoma and Texas just left. I kind of like the move for them. That seems like a regular move. That doesn't seem like a mega conference move necessarily. That's like Mizzou came to SEC a couple years ago. I don't even think they were ready, but this is going to be a time where we see if Cincy can hang with the big dogs, and I say big dogs, but we're talking about like the fourth best conference in the nation. UCF in there,
competition for sure.
Right, 100%. But it's just very interesting. I want to see where if it's going to be a Power 5, like takeover basically. And then honestly, we talked about it before the thing, the Pac-12, Dunzos. Do we agree with that?
Yeah. Pac-12 is it's only a matter of time before some of the better teams in that conference try and take leave too. I think maybe a team like Utah or a team like with a team Washington. Like Utah already gone or committing to leaving, Washington committing to leaving. It's hard to imagine the rest of those programs. I mean, it's just hard to imagine the rest of those programs still being relevant in the large recruiting scheme for certain. Maybe at a Division I AA level, some of those schools might have substantial success actually, but it sounds hard. It sounds hard to imagine them competing with the recruiting process and the lack of competition within their conference for whatever that's perceived as.
And to even bring it down to like a basic level, to you break it down on like a basic level, like UCLA, USC gone. It's already now the Pac-10, not the Pac-12. If one other single team leaves, now you're talking about a 9-conference, 8-conference, type deal, which is not going to get you in the college playoff. Everybody who knows football knows that. So it's just very
Yeah.
interesting. I think it's going to develop very fast. So this information we're putting out is very relevant at the moment, but just like the information we put out 2 weeks ago, it's going to change, I believe, that fast. So just very cool update that me and you are definitely going to be staying on top of. But I'll let you continue where I cut.
Yeah. Next topic is, one of the conferences that the
You were breaking up right there. You're breaking up there. Hold on. Run that back. Pause. You're breaking up. They got to hear you.
Gotcha.
They're good. You're good now.
Can you hear me now? Cool. So the NFC South, historically for the past, or not historically, but maybe for the past 5 to 6 years, has been one of the more competitive divisions in football, and they're losing a lot of reputable names out of the division, so it's really left it wide open. They're also gaining a lot of new faces. In the last few years, we've seen Drew Brees retire. We've seen the Panthers move on from Cam Newton. We've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers gain Tom Brady. We've seen the Falcons move on from now Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. So that's we're talking about the end of eras in the NFC South. So the question is, what's going on down there, and who really has an opportunity to come out on top? And to be quite honest, I think that it's a wide open race in the NFC South. Tampa still seems to be the favorite, though they're losing some key pieces in guys like Ndamukong Suh, guys like Ronald Jones Jr.,
Carlton Davis,
Carlton Davis, several others. They're losing. They're core pieces. Granted, they still have Tom Brady. They still have a great football team. They're still stacked with Mike Evans. They've lost Gronk. They've lost OJ. They still have Cam Brate, I believe. So still have Godwin, and people that they can use as weapons. So they're going to be okay. But I think that I would honestly still probably give the division to probably be a tie with the tiebreaker going to the Saints. I think the Saints. I hate to sound like I'm a Saints fan. That's why he laughs like that. But unbiasedly, with the team that Tampa had last year, I think they'd definitely be the division champion against us this year. With the team they have this year versus the healthy team that the Saints will have this year, being able to add playmakers like Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave, who I'm excited to see, but also maintain players like Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway as insurance on him. The defense being able to remain practically intact minus Marcus Williams, which we'll miss that guy. Yeah. Actually, moving on to the Ravens, you reminded me of Malcolm Jenkins. I'm sorry. So two players that were key to us that we've lost. But gaining Tyrann Mathieu, gaining or being burdened with Daniel Sorensen, however you decide to look at that. I'm conflicted. Yeah, good depth piece, I guess. We'll see how it works. But they managed to maintain on defense. And Jameis looks hungry. Jameis looks like he's ready to play. He was playing great. They were number one in the division and number 2 in the NFL before he had his injury. He had only thrown 1 pick in that time span as well, to tack on the 12 touchdowns, I believe. So it's we'll see. Will he fit well in the system? We kept Pete Carmichael as offensive coordinator, so I got them as number 1. Second, like I said, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just losing in a tiebreaker to is still a great football team, slugging it out with everybody else. So maybe 2 10 or 11 win teams. I don't know really how it breaks down now with the game off the top of my head. And then in Atlanta, man, I think I'm still going to go ahead and ride with Atlanta over the Panthers. I think the Panthers do have a better overall team. I do think that the Panthers have the better team than the Atlanta Falcons,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the addition of Baker Mayfield. But with what Atlanta has, culture-wise already, for whatever it is, they have a good culture. They're bringing in players who've been there before, good vets in Mariota. I think going to grab a guy like Brian Edwards as a safety valve for Mariota in case Desmond Ritter doesn't end up taking the reins, which I think people should hold on, because I do believe that Mariota, they didn't bring him in there. You don't bring a former receiver of your quarterback over without intention of giving him a shot out there. You're planning on giving him some type of chance. And so, I know they'll miss Calvin Ridley, but I just think that team is gritty. They're not going to let themselves get bullied the whole season. They tend to play better in second halves. And I think the Panthers are more likely to implode. So I got the Saints and Bucks tying, with the Saints winning the tiebreaker, the Falcons third, and the Panthers fourth right there in that division.
So I'm gonna scratch all that. Actually, no. I laugh, but I don't think your take's too far off, in my opinion. But I do think it's close, and I do think it does come down to a tiebreaker, but I do think the Bucks get it as far as that. But that's the closer we get to the season, and the do the Saints steal an early season game before they get right, because we know the Saints are dangerous at the end of the season every year. We know this; these are facts. So do they steal that early one? Then this is a completely different conversation. So I mean, just besides that, you do have, I believe, it's a tighter race than people believe. I think Bucks are a slight favorite there. I think the Falcons with Mariota are just kind of going to be back this year. I think they're going to be in the dust, because Kyle Pitts, now you're bringing in another quarterback for him to have to build chemistry with. Which, like we said, we like Mariota as an experienced vet. I do personally, but you're getting Mariota for what, 2 years max if this pans out. And then now
he's on a 2-year contract. Yeah,
I'm saying, but like, even if say he balled for 2 years, you know what I'm saying? I don't think he gets signed. I don't think he gets re-signed. You know what I'm saying? Like this is max a 2 years.
No. Transitional. He's a transitional quarterback for them.
Exactly.
In the best case scenario for them, yes.
As Desmond Ritter steps in now, Kyle Pitts, they're I mean, maybe I'm biased because I'm a Gator, but you tell me I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, maybe it's Desmond Ritter, but Kyle Pitts, their franchise player, maybe outside of AJ Terrell or corner, who's really
not wrong at all
like that. But
I really like AJ Terrell, but Kyle Pitts is a franchise player.
He's a franchise player, but you're talking about three quarterbacks maybe before his rookie contract is up. Yeah, that's the strength of their team, I believe. So it's just, if they get it together, then it could be something serious. That defense on the other side also has some work to do. Besides, homeboy can't do it by himself. AJ Terrell can't do it by himself back there. So we'll see what else they do. Dante Fowler finally retired after forever. He was a Gator, finished his last year with the Falcons. But to get to Carolina, this mess of Carolina. So we'll get the corny stat. I'm gonna get the corny stat out the way already. The Browns play the Panthers week 1. That schedule was made before this happened. I don't know if somebody knew, but basically the Browns just paid 2/3 of his contract, which actually I don't remember the exact fraction, but they've paid like $588,000 of his contract this year just for him to go out there and play them week 1. That's actually wild, though. And what's wilder is the dude that they replaced him with isn't even going to be playing against him week 1. But that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about baby. Yeah, we'll talk about that quarterback room in Carolina. I honestly don't think Baker has the job won. I know we all want to see Baker, especially the younger guys. The only ones that hate are like Skip, the older guys. He's just a gunslinger who throws in a set. No, we like that. That's what we like to see.
He's been getting some unnecessary hate.
And the kid
he's been getting some unnecessary flack. Yeah,
just because he had like 2 good seasons in Cleveland, that's like what the expectation now? No, bro. The kid was playing for the Browns, bro. Like at the end of the day, bro, he was playing for the Browns.
Yeah.
This team is good, but like this organizations have a lot to do with football. You know what I'm saying? Your Patriots and the Steelers aren't who they are if they're not great organizations. So you take that into account, and it's just like, bro was playing for the Browns. Bro had the stadium on the Progressive commercials. You know, with the blanket, sleeping in the stadium, bro was there, and he was literally in the gutters. You know what I'm saying, for that team. So it's just it's definitely just a very wild scenario. But I think that's going to push Baker to like Baker's going to be what we wanted Johnny to be, Johnny Manziel. When Johnny had his mess up, we're like, he's going to make a comeback. He's going to do this. That's what Baker's going to do for us, I believe.
Yeah. I feel like Baker right now is in a great situation. It has, in my opinion, on the Panthers breaking down and being last in the division doesn't have anything to do with Baker Mayfield. He'll actually be the reason that he'll be the reason they win a game this year. He'll be the reason they're relevant this year, in my opinion. But I just don't trust that coaching staff to make the right decision about who plays. And I expect them to be hyper cautious with his injury history. I think I fully expect week 1 for Sam Darnold, for week 1 and week 2 for Sam 100%. Darnold to probably start
at this moment.
After that, I could see, after that, I could see Baker Mayfield starting the next 4 games, maybe getting hurt a game, being able to play in the team, saying, no, we're going to go with Darnold because we want to cater to your injury. Darnold having a great game. Rule not knowing what to do, saying, actually, we're gonna go with Darnold again. Darnold shit in the bed and
actually, we're gonna put Matt Corral in.
Yeah, or put Matt.
They went and got him in the offseason, you know. So that court is deep back there. I mean, still, even if he does touch the field, some great guys to be behind. You know, they literally dealt with the shittiest hands ever. You know, one gets the Browns, and what Sam Darnold got drafted to the Jets. You know what I'm saying? So, while they get racked a lot by the big guys, bro, these NFL quarterbacks they're good, bro. But you know, your main wide receiver is Robbie Anderson, and I can't think of the wide receiver 1 for the Panthers right now. It's
DJ Moore.
Upsetting me. CJ Moore, yeah. Moore. And CJ Moore's a beast. He's a beast. So you know, you have talent there. This is the year Christian McCaffrey.
DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey. So I mean, the Panthers actually have plenty of weapons. They have another receiver they drafted last year, Svi Smith. I'm excited to see him get some opportunities. I think Terrence Marshall is a late. No, that's Terrence Marshall. So Terrence Marshall, I think he has a big opportunity to blow. And the guy that everybody should be looking at is their new tight end, Tommy Tremble, man. Tremble, man. The kid, I think Irv Smith comparisons from out there in from when he was at Alabama, really athletic tight end, tall tight end, fast tight end. He can move all over. So Tremble is a guy.
Tremble went to
so they have
Bama?
weapons. They get their.
Where Tremble come from?
No, Tremble didn't. I'm not sure where he went to college. I wasn't awake to him until week 3 of the NFL. But man, he was a ball player in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. They just got to get their quarterback room right. But I think it's going to be too late for them by the time they figure it out, man. And
figure it out. Like this is
the Saints are ready to win some games. They got 10 games on. They got. I think between Jarvis Landry and Alvin Kamara, you can win 10 games.
I think Tampa or the Saints. One of them is winning like 12, 13 games this year, and the other one's winning like 9, 10. So it's gonna be pretty close, maybe even like 11. But so it's gonna be close. And then I think the Panthers and Falcons are both gonna be around. Like I think Falcons will win about 6 games, 7 games this year, and Panthers probably 5. Over under at 4.5. Give me 5. So I mean,
got everybody winning about 10 games in that division.
Come on, bro. 10 games, everybody.
Everybody about 11. Nobody higher than 11. Nobody lower than 9, or nobody lower than 8. Probably.
I like right now. I like the Lions to just put some work in on Carolina right now. I don't care who right now. I don't care who.
I don't hate that take. I don't hate that.
I like the Lions to put work in. But
I
we
don't hate
definitely got to do another division. This was dope. But I mean, we both kind of hit it spot on. It's going to be in between the Bucks and the Saints, kind of like it has been the last couple of years, except when Matt Ryan pulled it out of nowhere and took them, on that run.
occasional
But
Matt Ryan or Cam Newton sighting.
yeah, very occasional. So I mean,
Bucks are
but
really
this
new
is a
to this
very
too, honestly.
I was going to say this is a very young division right now. Jameis is what, on the better side of 30, probably right around 30, early 30s. Brady's
28,
gone,
29, 30.
and people don't want to believe it, but Kyle Trask is the heir to Tom Brady. In Tampa, he's a young guy. We got
That's what you say. Okay.
we got the
Florida
Panthers.
boy.
We got the Panthers situation, obviously, at quarterback. They have plenty of options. What option they take, I don't know, but they have 3 that could work over the next 10 years, like franchise quarterback. They have him in that quarterback room. I don't know if they choose the right one. I don't even know if he's good, but they have the quarterback of the future out of one of those 3. And then with Falcons, I think everybody knows Falcons, like you said earlier, are in the transitional period. So it's a young division. It's gonna be up and coming for sure, 100%.
Yeah, man. It'll be exciting to watch a little bit of this NFL season this year. I wish it'll speed up a little bit, but we're almost there, man. August around the corner. So yeah, until next time, guys, man. I appreciate you having me out here again, Blake. Thank you, East West Football. Yeah, I'm Javion King on Instagram. It's JTFA_417. And on Twitter, it's 1997 J King. So give me a follow, man. Give me a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to East West Football. At East West Sports 91.
Yeah, we're working on bringing Jay onto the team. He's a busy man though, so we haven't got the formalities out of the way. But we're working on bringing Jay in on the team. So you're gonna see us a lot more during the season. We're gonna tackle another division next week. We'll have Robert Street on. Hopefully, this timing is crazy. We're busy, in the world these days. But it's always a pleasure to get on and do a podcast for the great East West Football. Thank you for all the support. You guys are showing. Make sure you're following all these down here. Make sure you're following all these for all the guys that are watching, not watching this live. The 3 people that watched. But as always, it's great having my boy Jay King on. We'll see you guys next week.
All that down there. Follow all that down there.
Peace out.
All that down there. Peace.